It's a beautiful evening, 6th of June 2013. Again, this is Livewire, as we do it every Thursday. Tonight, we want to discuss that issue that has been in the public domain for the last few days and weeks, and that's the issue of the transgenders, or transsexuals, if you like, in this country. But first, let's set the stage.
Audrey Mbugua first hit headlines in 2009.
Maybe look yourself in the mirror and what you see, you don't feel you are that. You don't feel you are a boy. You feel like trapped in another person's body.
For most of her life, Audrey has struggled with a gender identity disorder. Born Audrey Mbugua, the transgender grew up a woman trapped in a male body.
I don't feel lonely. I have friends, but at the level of intimacy and all that, no, not at the moment.
After she left high school, Audrey decided to live her life as a woman. However, her past still haunts her. The Kenya National Examination Council records still hold that Audrey is Audrey Mbugua, making it hard for her to get a job. Audrey recently went to court to compel NEC to change its records and issue her with a new certificate with her true identity, claiming that it was discriminatory and a violation of her human rights. Her male identity is also reflected in her national identity card and her passport. She wants these changed as well. State Council says the case could be a tricky one since Audrey was actually born male and lived half of her life as a male. What makes it even more difficult is that she is undergoing a gender identity crisis and she has not yet undergone full sex change from male to female. Catherine Omwando, KTN.
Right, and in the studio with me is that person on question, Audrey Mbugua. Audrey.
Thank you, James.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
How does it make you feel? In the last few days and weeks, your profile has risen. You were on newspaper front pages. You were talked about on television. How does it make you feel?
I really don't know, but the fact is I was prepared for all this. It's unfortunate there was so much toxicity as much as there was so much support, but it's manageable. Yeah.
How are you dealing with the new fame?
It's not fame. It's not fame. I don't consider it to be fame. But it has taken quite out of a toll on me. But as I know I say, transsexuals are much tougher and stronger than we think. So I'm ready for anything and for everything, yeah.
Right. My motivation for inviting you tonight was to understand and hear your story. And we've had it. We've known the bits and pieces of it.
Okay.
And the question that the country every time comes to ask is, isn't Audrey Mbugua just in a phase? Will this phase not end?
No, it's not a phase. Sex change is not a phase that one goes through. It's totally impossible to go back to that other life. But it's not a phase that I'm going through. Yeah.
What do you think about your other life that you mentioned? You've just called it other life. Is it something that embarrasses you?
No, it doesn't embarrass me, but it pricks at my inner self, my soul. For me, that was not me. This is me. And that person will never come back. Not at any one time. Yeah.
So just tell me, for the benefit of my viewers and benefit of myself tonight, when did Audrey Mbugua come to life, and when did Andrew cease to be?
Andrew started having got into her senile years and then had his death back 10 years ago. That is 2003, around there. So that's when Andrew died, his death, and there was the birth of Audrey. But then I'd never had the name Audrey, and came to get the name later on. But for the sex change, I did start the whole process years ago, before I even got the name Audrey. Yeah. But of course, at one time I was like, maybe I'm going through a phase. This will come to an end. But it never happened. And many times you wonder, why did all these things come to happen, you know? What happened? You don't get answers. But then you have to pick up the pieces and move on with life. Try to scrape up some decent life. But of course there are challenges and a lot of disappointments. But along the way you learn to shake them off and continue the journey.
So as I try to understand, how did you start, being Audrey, in the sense of, did you start by, say, putting on dress and feeling comfortable and feeling more of yourself when you were young, or did you start just one day and felt, this is not me?
No, I think I'll go with the former. It's a process, not a one day off thing. You start to experience some conflict inside you. Like you're like, who's that? Is like maybe you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're like, who's that? That's not me. Or maybe you're looking at your photos and you're like, this is not me. This is somebody else. You find that you can't wear those clothes that you used to wear. It's hard to even pee while standing up. You have to squat and all that. You feel trapped in another person's body. Yeah,
Audrey, Kenya is a conservative society, mostly.
Yeah.
We also like to think of ourselves as religious. How do you think your story and your journey is working well with the Kenyan narrative, the Kenyan story of religious people and conservative people?
It's complex. It's complex, really complex. But Kenya is not really conservative, by the way. Let's say people normally fear what they don't know. But I won't say that makes them conservative. The issue of religion has always been there. There are some people who normally raise objections and say, God created man and woman. There's nothing like people changing gender, But I normally tell people, let's deal with the issue of gender identity disorders in a very objective fashion. Let's not put emotions into it. Let's not put religion into it. The same way we stopped putting religion and culture into the issue of HIV and AIDS. I mean, the same way we deserve to look into this issue of gender identity disorder in a sober manner and accord it the objectivity it deserves. Yeah.
Your state really is it's peculiar, right? The fact that the transactions are not many, we can actually count them, and you come and you have become a face, for this small community. And the question then is, for you, do you feel you haven't fully gone through the whole process as you'd like? Why is that?
There are some problems that when I was supposed to have my final surgery. But
that's a sex change.
Yeah, surgery. But at least I'm still taking my hormones and all that. But there are some issues that came up, and I'm looking into those issues, and I'm proud to say that we're currently tying loose ends, and I'm very optimistic. I'll get that surgery, and it will be accessible to all transsexual people who need it.
Yeah, because the point that I'm driving at is you can get that surgery out of the country.
Yeah.
But you're choosing not to.
No, but I can't. Okay, first of all, I can't afford to go outside the country. Somebody needs follow-up. It's totally, it's untenable to expect the transsexuals to be, even for the slightest follow-up, they have to go outside the country for a follow-up. And then if we have doctors who can perform this surgery here in Kenya, we don't understand why it should not be done. It's treatment for gender identity disorders. We don't get to hear people with, let's say, diarrhea being told, oh, no, get into a coach and rush to Tanzania and get treatment and then come back. I think it's discriminatory to expect that transsexuals should be seeking treatment outside the country. And you see, treatment for gender identity disorder, it's not just about the sex change surgery. It's also about like hormones. It's also about counseling and all that. So should we also be going for that, maybe to Thailand or South Africa or US or all that? If Kenya has the necessary capacity to treat transsexuals, I think what we should be doing is putting in place broader measures to streamline the process of accessing sex change therapy, rather than thinking of how people can get into a plane and seek that same therapy outside the country.
Supposing that doesn't change and these problems that you're alluding to persist?
Okay, I don't want to work with hypothetical, in a hypothetical manner. What we are saying is we have the capacity. We have already done so much. Apparently the medical board says, oh, next week we'll have a meeting to sit down and see how we can formulate national guidelines for the management of gender identity disorders. So it's a question of wait and see. I remember receiving a letter from the medical board on the 17th of October last year, and we have been patient, writing to them, asking them what became of this process, where are we headed, are we moving forward, and so forth.
Because point is, for you, you'd rather have this now, as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And these are things that you can control. So the question then begs, if it doesn't change, will you be happy to stay this way?
Okay, the thing is, I don't want to conjecture and say that we won't work under hypothetical circumstances, but what we are saying is we are hopeful that the medical fraternity in Kenya, and especially the Ministry of Health, and specifically the Department of Medical Services, who take up this thing seriously. Already there are doctors who take this thing seriously, you know. At times we come out like we are doing a blanket condemnation, and at times we say, oh, nothing is happening in government. But let's say we have doctors who have done so much for transsexuals in Kenya, whether in public sector or private sectors. But we are hopeful, and we are confident that the process will move forward. Yeah.
I'm interested again to know about your relationship status. You told the Standard that you were in a relationship before.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
Okay, well, what I said was that dating is a very tricky situation for transsexuals. people normally assume that, hey, transsexual is a sexual orientation, but actually being transsexual is an issue of undergoing gender change. It's not about asserting sexual orientation, you know, like heterosexual or bisexual or lesbianism. It's not like that, you know. It's about gender change, you know. So yeah, I know I have done a lot of homework on where I belong. Okay, fine, I started dating women, then I started the transition, and of course there's the norm of, hey, women date men, and I tried it, and I was like, okay, this is not my cup of tea, and this is not my toothbrush, so I decided to go back to my cup of tea.
Which is what?
Like women, but I'm not dating, but yeah.
But because this puts in a very tricky situation here, Audrey feels, and she's a woman, and then she
identify as a woman.
Yes.
Yeah, not feel.
Identify as a woman. Right.
Yeah.
And then you feel and you want to date women.
Yeah. You see, for transsexuals, when we change gender, you know, we change gender, we don't change the sexual orientation, because you know the sexual orientation is in the brain, and the gender identity is in the brain. But now what we do is we undergo a change of the anatomical sex, or the genital sex, and you see the sexual orientation is not in the genitalia, it's up there. So when you change genitalia, it doesn't mean you have to change who you.
In terms of relationship, really,
yeah.
Again, just to help us understand, you identify as a woman.
No, I am a woman for me.
You're a woman.
Yeah.
All right. You're a woman. You want to, also in relationship, you feel more inclined to date women. Isn't that very confusing? And
okay, as I was explaining, I have sought answers, and I've done my homework well, and coming back to dating women does not it shouldn't be a huge issue, you know. But I think for transsexuals, since there are mitigating factors here, they need more latitude to explore their lives and their love lives without. I think the society should be more understanding for transsexuals, you know, because having being born a boy and you used to date girls and all that, you had the first kiss during, you know, those early years and all that. Then you start the whole journey of changing your sex, and now the society tells you, you know what, you should be dating men, and then you try it and you're like, oh, wait a bit, am I doing this for the society or is it for me? And you're like, no, at least let me live my life for once. Because, I mean, you only have one life to live, and then you're like, it's okay. But for transsexuals, there are mitigating factors.
So in your mind, Audrey, yeah. How do you foresee your future, through going through all this process? How do you foresee your future in terms of family and career, the way you foresee it?
Oh, I'm very optimistic, by the way. I now have a family. I still have a family, by the way. I enjoy being with my relatives and all that, my grandma, my aunts, my sister, my brother. Yeah, that's a family for me. You know, families come in different forms and shapes. So I think I already have a family, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at times we go out there to look for another family, and we end up being miserable because we forgot about that family you had but never realized you had. Yeah.
Do you think society is accepting you, I mean the wider society, the whole country, do you think it's accepting you transsexuals, and do you think it's becoming more acceptable or giving you the latitude that you're talking about?
I think there is quite a lot of acceptance. It's only that the people who are courageous enough to really think about this thing in a concrete way, they don't get to have their voices heard. And there are, of course, challenges in the society. The problem is the same problems that they are there in the society. They end up getting into like government offices, you know. Well, for example, there is the whole issue of names. What are names, you know? If I say Audrey, or Audrey is a female name, you know, it's not actually that Audrey is a female name. Audrey is a name, you know, because you know, like names don't have genders. So at times, you know, names don't have genders. Because I took the name Audrey not because I was changing sex, because I wanted a name that fits my gender identity.
Right.
You get it? Even if I was not to undergo sex change, I think I would still have chosen the name.
But if names don't have genders, you'd have stuck with Andrew.
No. The thing is, I didn't change my name because I was changing sex. I changed my name because I needed a name to fit my gender identity, my psychological sex, not because I was changing gender. For the issue of gender comes like in identity cards, you know. I normally see maybe some government officials, and I'm not talking about the case because I cannot talk about it because of the sub judice rule, but let me talk about the ID, you know. I've seen somebody saying, no, you can't change the name Andrew to Audrey because Audrey is a female name, Andrew is a male name. You cannot have this name. And I'm like, says who? You know, yes, culturally we normally say this is a female name, this is a male name. There are other names that can be used by either genders, like Hillary, like Lynn, like Hope, you know, Andrea. Normally see both genders using it. But, you know, legally, there are no female names and there are no male names. Names are just names. The determinant of sex is indicated in the M or male or female in identity cards, you know. But the name does not determine one's gender.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you do for a living?
I do projects at Transgender Education and Advocacy, which is a lobby group for transsexuals in Kenya. I just do like projects, monitoring and evaluation, and so forth.
Is that what you want to do for the rest of your life?
No, maybe partially.
What do you want to do for the rest of your life?
Of course, I want to go back to the labs. It's more fulfilling to work with microorganisms. I'm not saying human beings are bad. I didn't say that, but what I'm saying at times microorganisms might be better than working with them might be better at times, you know, than working with human beings and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Do you have childhood friends?
Now that you have asked that, let me think. I think I still have like 2 or 3. I don't know what happened to the others, you know.
Is it you or them?
I don't want to apportion blame here, but of course there are those who were like, you know, the usual stigmas and all that. But you see, for me, I'm like, you accept me the way I am. If I'm happy being like this, I don't understand why anyone has to be so hostile and aggressive and arrogant about it. I mean, I'm changing my sex. I'm not changing other people's sex, you know. And I'm not saying that people should have their sex change or anything, you know. But there are those who I have stuck with and who stuck with me through thick and thin. And I'm very grateful to them. And yeah, I still have childhood friends, some
childhood friends.
Yeah.
A question on Twitter, someone who's been watching says, you know, your story is very serious and very passionate, but you should try God. The Bible is the answer.
Yeah, that's a very interesting thing, you know, and I will take it and say that, you know, at times it depends with who. Like you might say, my God maybe is so and so, you know,
so
even God, yeah, you know, like God can bring his will through doctors, you know.
Audrey, do you believe in God?
Okay, I do believe that there's the idea that there's God, or there's the idea of God, and I believe God exists in our minds, you know, and passes from one mind to another, you know, like computer viruses, you know. Yeah, so yeah, God exists as an idea that passes from one mind to another, maybe using the Bible, using music, using catechist, you know, church.
So you haven't answered my question though.
What was it?
Do you believe in God?
Not, okay, I used to, but then when I became an adult, I was like, no.
What made you challenge your belief in God?
I've been looking at science and the way science provides answers with the whole thing of the universe. If you look at religion like Christianity, the universe is around 6,000 something years. But if you look at it critically, it's much older. It's around 14.9 billion years old. So I think science offers answers, and these answers are the same, whether you're in US or Iceland or Thailand or Kenya or South Africa. The answer is the same. But if you look at accounts of religion, various religious groups that we have across the universe, they have different explanations of.
Fair enough. Fair enough. As I wind up, I must ask you, who do you feel in terms of gender close to? Do you think the males are more closer and identify with them more, or do you feel identify more with the females in terms of interaction?
I interact more with females and better with females, but I do also interact with like men. We do talk, watch football. Yeah.
And you support Manchester United?
Yeah, the greatest team. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not called the interview because I support Arsenal.
Oh, okay. Ouch.
Thank you very much, Audrey.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, we've been talking to Audrey Mbugua, and yes, you've heard it. That's her life story, and that's her journey. Thank you very much for watching KTN Livewire, and thank you very much for all your birthday wishes on Facebook and Twitter. I'm 1 year older, wiser, and better, hopefully. Thank you very much. Sleep well.